What's going on, MMA fans? I'm here to do my UFC Fight Night 14 predictions. The event taking place on July 19th, of course, on Spike. I'm going to run over the 4 fights on the main card, work my way from the bottom all the way to the top. First fight of the night, Brandon Vera taking on Reese Andy. Brandon Vera, this is his first fight down at 205, moving down in weight, going from heavyweight to light heavyweight. Has fought the likes of in his last fight, Fabricio Verdum, lost him via the TKO. Lost to Tim Sylvia via the unanimous decision. Fought Frank Mir, Justin Eilers, so on and so forth. Vera, great wrestling base, underrated jiu-jitsu skills. He's actually very, very good on the ground. And his Muay Thai is second to none. He's got some great, great stand-up skills and devastating knees if he gets you in the clinch. Going to be taking on Reese Andy. Reese Andy has got a great Abu Dhabi background. Has grappled, in fact, I think at 2 or 3 Abu Dhabi events. He's got a great Greco-Roman wrestling base. Very, very good in the clinch. He's very, very talented. And it isn't, too shabby on the ground himself. Fought the likes of Krzysztof Szynski, Justin Levens, and Mike Sesnilevich. An IFL vet, of course. In this fight, I'm actually going to go with Brandon Vera. I'm going to take him via unanimous decision. I think all around, Brandon Vera, in most areas in this fight, outclasses Reese Andy. The only area that it's kind of almost a little bit of a stalemate to me is the jiu-jitsu factor, I think Reese Andy's got some great, great grappling experience. He's got very good submission defense. He's not bad on the ground, in his own right. But I think Vera is stronger in the clinch. I think he's going to be a lot stronger at this weight. And I think Reese Andy, of course, coming into the UFC, this is his first fight in the UFC. He's fought in the IFL primarily. It's a big step up, and I think that might play into this fight. And I think that Brandon Vera takes this fight. I'm going to say he wins via unanimous decision. I think Andy may take 1 round, but I think Vera will convincingly take the other 2 rounds, maybe even all 3 rounds, and beat Reese Andy. Next fight, Hermes Franca versus Frankie Edgar. Solid fight. You got Hermes Franca, who trains, with the Armory. Was down near the Coconut Creek area. Now I believe he's training up in Orlando. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, very, very talented. Last fight, was the Sean Shirk fight, of course, getting caught with the illegal substance as far as a steroid. Was suspended for a while, now he's back. Fought Sean Shirk, lost him via the decision for the title. Fought Spencer Fisher, Nate Diaz, Jamie Varner, Ryan Schultz, Eve Edwards, Josh Thompson. The list goes on for Hermes Franca. Frankie Edgar, very, very talented wrestler, Division I wrestler. Coming into MMA, has transitioned very, very well. Has worked even more in stand-up. He looks a lot better. His fight with Spencer Fisher, he actually displayed some decent striking skills. And, he's even getting better on the ground with his submission defense constantly. Last fight, lost to Gray Maynard. Beat Spencer Fisher via the decision. Fought Mark Bocek and also fought Tyson Griffin. Personally, I think stylistically this is a bad matchup for Hermes. I think that Frankie has got decent enough submission defense to be able to withstand anything that Hermes has as far as if it does go to the ground. But I think the game plan that Frankie Edgar is going to come in with is he's a better striker than Hermes all around, I think personally, and his boxing skills. And I think that he can use leg kicks, use his jab, and probably point Hermes and take a pretty convincing decision. I think at some points in this fight, you will probably see Edgar maybe going for a takedown to try to solidify a round, but I think Edgar uses a stand-up game plan and then just points Franca and takes the decision. Next fight, Anthony Johnson versus Kevin Burns. Anthony Johnson, of course, has got a great wrestling base, used to wrestle in high school. I think he did a little bit of some collegiate wrestling as well. Fought Tommy Spear, Rich Clementi, Chad Reiner. Talented striker. He's very, very strong, and he's got some dynamite in his hand. If he touches you with his hands, he can drop you. Kevin Burns, comes in with his debut in the UFC as a blue belt with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and taps Ron Carneiro with a triangle choke. You don't see that very often. You don't see a black belt being tapped by a blue belt. It's very, very rare. Very, very interesting fight. If you haven't seen that fight, check that fight out. Burns also has a great Taekwondo background. I've seen a couple of his training sessions. He looks pretty decent on his feet, but stylistically, I think Johnson takes this fight. I think he's strong. I think he'll, keep Burns from taking him down consistently. And I think he's going to finish Burns in the second round via TKO. I think he's a lot more stronger in the stand-up. I think he's got the better hands, better the combinations, good leg kicks. I think Johnson puts Burns away in the second round. Next fight, Anderson Silva versus James Irvin. Of course, this is Anderson Silva's move down to up to 205. And still, we don't know why he's moving to 205. We don't know if it's for personal reasons or, if Dana White has asked him, if UFC has asked him to move up to 205. But Anderson Silva, what can you say about the guy? Great black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, great Muay Thai. Has gotten ever so better with his wrestling, ever so better, all around as a fighter. Last fight, Dan Henderson beat him via the rear naked choke. Fought Nate Marquardt, fought Rich Franklin, fought Rio Shonin, Chris Lieben, Tony Fricklin. The list goes on for Anderson. James Irvin, very, very talented. He's got a good Muay Thai base. He's also got a decent wrestling base as well. His last fight, of course, was against Houston Alexander. Won via the vicious Superman punch, which was pretty nasty. Fought Luis Kane, Thiago Silva, Hector Ramirez. The list goes on for him. This is really a good matchup, I think, all around. And I think that this is a true test for Anderson. I really do. And the reason I say that is James Irvin is no slouch in the clinch, and that's where Anderson is most dangerous. Is when he gets you into the clinch and he starts throwing knees. He can pick you apart on the feet, and again, Irvin has got a great Muay Thai, and he's got very, very good boxing skills as well. So this is going to be an interesting fight. I think that Anderson, though, is going to be able to point Irvin. I think that you will see at some points of this fight that Anderson may rock Irvin, may get him into a bad spot. But I think Irvin's going to do enough to survive, to be able to keep out, to move around. But still, I think that Anderson will eventually point, get Irvin into a couple bad spots in the clinch, and use his jab, and probably even at one point of the one of the rounds, maybe even try to take Irvin down. And I think Silva wins the decision. I don't really see, and I know this is crazy to be hearing from me, but I don't see Silva really finishing Irvin, because Irvin is a tough guy, man. He's a tough dude to finish. He's got an excellent clinch game, excellent boxing skills, and he's a big, big dude. This is going to be a true tough test for Anderson Silva. And I think that he will get through it. I think that he will win the fight, but I think it is going to go to a decision. And I think it will be pretty convincing. I think that Anderson will outclass James for the most part, but I don't think he's going to be able to finish him. I think that's going to be the one point in this fight where James is going to be able to withstand most of the things that Anderson throws. But I think Silva wins a convincing decision. So those are my predictions. Let me know what you think. Leave me some comments, constructive, negative, positive. And on that note, you guys, have a great day.